everyone, it's Missy, and I'm going to show you how we make up the milk for our bull calves. And we use a milk replacer from Land O'Lakes, and it's the Amplifier Max. We can buy this at our local feed store, and you don't want to skimp on milk replacer. I know it's expensive stuff, and you try to get it as cheap as possible, but you really want to make sure that you have the protein count in there so that way your calves have a jump start. This is also a medicated calf replacer. Is supposed to help prevent scours, and it is calf growth formulated. So this is just the regular Land O'Lakes. They do have one that's specially formulated for Jersey cows, but I can't find that anywhere around here. I have no idea how you can get that even. So we just use the basic all-purpose Amplifier Max, and that seems to be doing just fine. So I measured it out into this ice cream pail because you measure it by weight. The cup that comes with it only measures 10 ounces worth at a time, so I actually am using this plastic Tupperware piece that I had from the camper, one of the camper Tupperware containers, and I measured on my food scale 12 ounces worth of milk powder, and then I took a Sharpie and I drew around it so that way I knew how much each time I took a scoop. So I have my bottles set up over here. These are the ones I'll be pouring into. As you can see, we have our totes. I got those at Family Dollar for about $5 a piece, I think. And we use these totes to haul the bottles back and forth from the house to the barn. We also use them for washing. So when we bring the bottles back, we have soapy water. We just use Dawn dish soap, and we use as hot of water as we can out of our sink here. And we take a bucket and we fill like 3 gallons of hot soapy water in this tub, and then for the rinsing we do 2 gallons of hot water with half a cup to 1 cup of white vinegar. That just helps get that musty milk smell out of the bottles and also prevents mold and other growing things, mildew. We don't want to make our calves sick. So, and you don't want, we don't use bleach because you have to really rinse that out, otherwise you can make your calves sick easily if you don't rinse out all the bleach. And under here I have my 5-gallon green bucket from Menard. It's a Menard special. This was in the clearance section, but the reason why I got it is because it has a pouring spout. And I mix the water and milk replacer powder in this, and then I pour it into this gallon pitcher, and this is what I use to actually pour into the bottles. This is basically the easiest way we found to do it. So I can mix 5 bottles at a time with this method, and you can see that I already pre-marked the amount of liquid I need to pour in there. Being we have 9 bottle calves, 5 is the top line, 4 is the bottom line. So it's easier if we pre-measure stuff. Over here is where we keep our bottles. And when they go into this drying towel, it's on my washing machine at the moment. But so we just put this stuff over, so once it comes out of this rinsing agent over here, then it goes over to the drying towel. And then over on my stove, I have my stock pot with boiling water. And I just put it under the sink and fill it up. I know pretty much, ooh, that didn't sound good. And I know pretty much how much to fill it, you know, for each, when I do a 5-bottle batch and a 4-bottle batch. And then I bought, well, this is just a digital meat thermometer, and I just use this to measure the water. And you want to have the water at about 110 degrees to mix the milk replacer, and then we cool it down to about 105, and then when we bring it out to the barn, it's at about 102, I think. About there. It depends on how warm it is when we're doing this, and because you don't want to burn the calves' esophagus or mouth or stomach or anything like that. So you want to make sure that it's cool enough for them to drink, but you have to have the water hot enough initially to get the milk replacer to blend in with the water. So this has a little ways to go yet, but so I'll show you a little bit more in detail of what I go through. Okay, for just a little bit more detail, I have my bucket set up, and I'm the water is hot enough, and I'm going to be pouring just enough in there that I can start mixing the milk replacer. I don't want to fill it up completely to my line because the milk replacer will also take some space in the bucket as well. So I just dump my pre-measured amount into the water, and then I have a wire whisk off to the side that you can buy in a kitchen supply area, and I just whisk it in and blend it together as best I can. You want to make sure that you want to blend it very well because the calves can't digest the chunks of milk replacer as well as if it was all blended in liquid form. So I take my time when I whisk, and I make sure that I scrape around the sides. I also make sure that I scrape around the bottom, and I sometimes change directions just so that way I can make sure that I get as many lumps out of there as possible before I top it off with the rest of the water. Okay, so that's mixed up as much as I can, so I'm going to go back to my pot and I am going to get some more water. And then once I fill this up to the line, I put my pot under the sink again to fill it up and get it ready for the next batch. But as you can see, I fill that bucket fairly full when I'm doing my first batch of milk. And I make sure not to slop or anything, but I'm pouring it into the pail, or into the pitcher I should say, and then this is the pitcher I'm going to be using to pour the milk into the bottles. Here I am pouring the milk into the bottles. Each bottle has a marking on it. Each mark is for each pint, and these are 2-quart bottles, and I just fill them up to the lines. You can kind of see the lines in the video here. I can see them pretty well in person to know how full I am making the bottles. So that's just about it. You just keep pouring them until they're full. And then I let them sit here and cool off a bit before I put the bottle caps on. Once the bottles have cooled enough, I put them in the tote so they are ready to be taken out to the barn. And one tub can fit all 9 of my bottles. Actually, they can fit 12, I found out, if I needed that many. And just to quickly show you, this is how I scoop up my milk powder. I have my cup here, I tapped it and try to compact the milk powder in there before I drew the line. You can barely see it, it's faded a lot. But one of those 12-ounce portions of milk powder is 1 bottle's worth, so that's how I know how to measure out either 5 or 4 in my pail to mix up with the water. So all of my bottles have been filled, and now I'm screwing on my bottle caps. You can actually buy them so they snap on. Mine do screw on, and my calves have learned how to unscrew these by twisting the nozzle the other direction, so I have to be very careful. I think the next time when I feed the calves I'm going to do the snap-ons. I've always had snap-ons before. For some reason I grabbed the screw-on ones at the farm supply store, but then they do pull pretty hard on these, so I'm almost afraid that if I did have a snap-on they would pull it off because they're very aggressive. I've never seen a calf so aggressive with bottles as these Jersey Bull Calves that I have. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. A thumbs up if you like this video. Thanks for watching. Bye!